No government shutdown. The president is signing the massive $1.5 trillion government spending plan, which includes $13.6 billion for U.S. efforts in Ukraine, today. In a bipartisan vote last night, the Senate passed the House version of the bill with a final vote of 68 to 31. 18 Republican senators voted yes, on top of the overwhelming amount of Republicans who voted for it in the House. No, this bill was not negotiated in secret in the middle of the night. No, Republicans were not kept in the dark. Do you think if that were true, the amount of Republicans who voted for it would have done so, including Senators McConnell and Tuberville? Democrats and Republican senators both spoke on the floor saying no one got everything they wanted, but both sides got some of what they wanted. The facts are this bill has been negotiated since the summer of 2021. It was just formally introduced in the House, as I reported in this video, at 1:30 in the morning on Wednesday. Now, that doesn't mean that was the first time lawmakers had ever heard of this thing. I get that doing things at 1:30 in the morning is super weird to most people, but it's not so weird for Congress. They've definitely done it quite a bit. In this case, they were under a tight deadline to get this bill passed before today's scheduled shutdown. So now that this bill is passed, our government will remain funded through the end of the fiscal year, which is September 30th. So no more threats of government shutdowns, at least till then.
In case you missed it, here's what happened with Russia and Ukraine today in just 60 seconds. The Russian attacks throughout Ukraine continued and in some places escalated. The White House has said Russia's current strategy is escalation without an end game. The White House and President Volodymyr Zelensky both publicly expressed concern over the possibility of Vladimir Putin using chemical weapons against Ukraine. President Biden said Russia will pay a severe price if that happens. No specifics were given on what exactly that means. President Biden spoke with President Zelensky for nearly an hour today about the state of the situation on the ground and stood by his commitment that U.S. troops will not be fighting a war against Russia in Ukraine. The White House announced another round of sanctions against Russia, stripping the country of its current permanent trade relations status with the United States, which really isn't that big of a deal because we don't do that much business with Russia. But these sanctions are being echoed by our G7 and EU partners who do a lot of business with Russia. The European Union and the G7 countries will strip Russia of its most favorable nation trade status. Now, in the United States, this particular move must be approved by Congress. The House is expected to take up this legislation next week.